Gentlemen, Chair will call to order the monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lake Barrington. It is Thursday, August 10, 2023. It is 7 p.m. on the dot. Clerk will please call the roll.
President Richardson?
Here.
Trustee Burke?
Here.
Trustee Hayes?
Here.
Trustee Perkins?
Here.
Trustee Schaller?
Here.
Trustee Schallmoser?
Here.
Trustee Van Ryn? Here. Thank you.
Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Agenda item for this evening, 4A, is approval of the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting July 11th, 2023. Are there questions or edits for the clerk? There being none, then Chair would like a motion to approve agenda item 4A, minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting July 11, 2023. May I have the motion, please? By Trustee Schaller, may I please have a second? By Trustee Perkins, thank you both. Clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Schallmoser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Richardson?
Yes. We're going to take a moment to address some AV problems. We can hear, Andy, you can hear us, correct?
I can. Your kind of sound kind of oddly distant and fluttery.
Yeah.
It sounds better than you, actually.
Well, Sharon was just pointing out, we're getting the speaker with your voice through her computer, not through the sound system like last month.
Which I'm not sure why.
And we don't know why, so we'll have to be a little more patient on this. Does it make sense to reboot and have Andy call back in?
We can try.
I don't want to prolong this, but...
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Okay, just everyone be aware that Andy may not be able, it's not working as well as it did last month. And just call the vendor tomorrow and ask what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Agenda item 5 is the President's remarks. I think we have some guests in the audience who might want to speak to the board. Are you, Mr. Dennis?
Yes, I am.
Come on in.
Oh, wow, first up?
Yeah, we thought we wouldn't make you wait around.
Okay.
We try to be courteous so that you don't have to spend your whole evening sitting here listening to us.
Okay, I was going to be out here from now.
And hit the little red button, or the little center button.
There you go.
That works?
Yes, perfect, thank you.
Do I need to hold it down? No. Okay.
All right, my name is John Dennis. I work with GC Realty in Roselle, and we presently have under contract 22159 North Pepper Road in Lake Barrington. It's an industrial property, so we close in early September. And what I would like to basically request is the possibility of I'm looking into the possibility of requesting a special use permit to change 3,000 square feet of office in the front to potentially self-storage, smaller self-storage units. And I'll just kind of walk you through it. And I do have pictures if you guys kind of want to see. It's already an industrial, complex. It's an industrial building. Everything is most of the units are like 1,500 square feet. But they have a 3,000 square foot section of office on the very front, and it's been vacant for over a year. Everybody knows office space is a disaster right now. So we have no idea what we can do with it. We're trying to, we're open to ideas. So if you guys, have something that you want to see, or if you guys have a TIF program that you're trying to, help move the economy along, move your town into a better position. We try really hard to work with, the boards and the counties or whenever we can And so we don't want to do something that you guys don't want. But at the same time, if we can't change it from office, we got to come up with some other idea, otherwise it's going to sit vacant.
Sure. Yeah, in fact, thank you for coming in. Some context for you, and a reminder always for the record. God bless Ally, thank you for your great service. 20 years ago, we had a couple of issues where...
Recording in progress.
It's okay. Are we good? Okay. We had a few development proposals where the developers went through the process with the Plan Commission, and the board rejected the Plan Commission's recommendation, and there were some hard feelings. And so what we did is create a process that is completely optional for people on your side of the desk, because most of us up here run our own businesses or work for big companies, so we're very sensitive and sympathetic, because you said it, you don't want to waste time, you don't want to bring something forward that's a non-starter. So the courtesy review that you're providing tonight was created as an option. You have an unqualified right to go to our Planning Commission for a record-based hearing and persuade them on the merits. They make the decisions. We simply affirm or reject their recommendation. The purpose of this is simply, we first encourage you to read our comprehensive plan and study our website, because we have a brand statement that we've worked very hard to drive an oasis of gracious countryside living. So at a highest level filter, certainly look at it and read the comprehensive plan, and then you have a chance to bounce the concept off. In the past, some developers have come, or real estate developers have come forward, and they've presented concepts that were probably not going to be enthusiastically embraced. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a right to go make your case on the record to the Plan Commission. It's to give you some context for that as to whether or not you want to go through it. As you said, you don't want to present something that you fear might be a non-starter. So this is not to say anything other than as you present tonight. We have no authority here tonight to give you any real encouragement or discouragement. We'll probably ask a few questions, and then you can take that under advisement as you consider whether or not to go forward with the Plan Commission. But the whole point was not to waste people's time in your line of work. There are some things that are just going to be a non-starter because they run afoul of our comprehensive plan and our community branding and vision statement. Mr. Bateman, anything you want to add to that I missed? Okay.
That's very clear.
So we welcome you, and we hope that you will bring lots of development to Lake Barrington that's consistent with our plan. And I have no opinion, as you talked this evening, as to whether what you're proposing is good or bad, so I appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us.
Well, I appreciate you guys seeing me at all, so...
Happy to do so.
And Sharon has been actually a lot of help, just in everything that I've been trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
So it's always, anytime you do this, it's a project on its own, so... but yes, I've looked over the comprehensive plan a little bit. I haven't got into a lot of detail, but I don't know how familiar you are with the building. It basically hasn't been touched in 30 years. So, I mean, it is, the toilets are falling apart and everything is, needs a whole new roof and all sorts of stuff. And so, our goal is to, renovate the entire building and try to draw in, some higher class tenants and make the building, move it up a couple notches from Class C, maybe definitely Class B. It'd be nice if we could push it to Class A, but that's a stretch. But one of the things, that we do have to get filled up is we have to do something with that office space. And, however, I mean, we're literally sitting around spitballing ideas, but, certainly we want to, do something that not only improves Lake Barrington, but, we want everybody to be on board.
Yeah, and for the benefit of the record, because oftentimes I will say things for the benefit of the record. It's really not to the board or to the audience or to the presenter, it's for the benefit of the record. So for the benefit of the record, the property in question, 22159, that you're discussing with us, is not quite, but almost at the corner of Pepper Road and West Industrial Avenue.
It's actually on the corner. It's 2 pins. And so I know it looks like the 22-159 is the long building.
Yep.
But it's connected with the white building and then the auto body in the back, and it's all being sold together, so we're buying both of them.
On the front-facing building, I'm looking at Google Earth. On the front-facing building, I know right where this is. Across the street, excuse me, the part of the building that's facing Pepper Road. What's there now for the, especially for Trustee Burke, since he's not with us tonight, but joining by telephone or by Zoom or electronically? What's there now?
May I approach?
Oh, of course you may. Thank you.
So this is the offering memorandum that the settlers put out. So this is what you're looking at, right? So this is the office section here. It's 3,000 square feet, but it's 2
And
floors.
this is Pepper Road,
This is Pepper Road.
and that's West Industrial.
Yep.
And let me invite you to walk around here and let everybody see it.
Yeah, no, I will.
Great.
So, like I said, this is the office.
Is that where the Hubschman?
Yeah, I think it was the
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
In the plans.
Yeah, okay.
This whole long section here, going back, is basically, think about it as like garage space, small bay,
Okay.
1,500 square
Okay.
feet. There's literally 12 units going back all over there. And then this big white building is currently an 8,000 square foot furniture warehouse
Okay.
and showroom. And then this back here is an auto body.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of auto body over there, a lot of those auto body dealer shops, or repair shops, excuse me. Why don't you take it around, let everybody take a peek at it. Andy, for your benefit, this is...
I have it pulled up on Google Earth, I'm looking at it.
Great.
Thank you.
This is all small bay industrial.
Oh, by the way, you're online now.
Spots.
So what was the magic?
Furniture
I knew about
showroom
this.
warehouse. This is the auto body.
It'll just come out of your check.
Yes. Well, we're looking to make it, we're renovating the entire building, but we're only talking, yes, what I'm proposing is to just change this section right here into the self-storage. So where would your office space be then? This would not, yeah, there would be.
And Andy, he's showing Peter and Therese the drawings now, and then he's going to go over and show John, Susie, and Rich.
They actually have their offices in there.
Okay.
If you think about, a standard small bay warehouse, okay, it's basically 10% office and 90% just a open garage. And then there's a bathroom in the back. So you kind of walk in the front, you have a little office to the side, 250 square feet. And you got 1150 square feet of warehouse space and then 100 square foot of bathroom, 75 square foot of bathroom, whatever. So every one of these bays already has offices. This already has offices, they have offices. This is literally standalone office space. It's 4 units, and they've been vacant for a year, and nobody's gonna rent office space right now. It doesn't look like it's gonna change for quite some time. So if you can't figure out something to do with it, it just sits vacant. Good plan.
No, thanks for explaining.
Were you able to
I was,
see all that?
yes.
Okay, so it's just this piece here? Mm-hmm. Okay, did you have any questions?
I'm curious, for the benefit of everyone, why have you chosen this location?
Are you talking about for the self-storage?
No, just that, what attracted you to Lake Barrington and this property?
Oh, well, I mean, first of all, I don't know if I should walk back there and talk. Actually, first, save the question.
Sure, no problem.
And you guys have seen it?
Well, let me just validate, I get it up on Google Earth, so just show me the building.
Okay, so this is the whole building.
And Andy, after he does that, he'll go back to the podium so that he can speak into the microphone, and you can hear him.
Right here, that's the office. The rest of it is all small bay warehouse. This is a big warehouse for furniture, and that's the auto body.
So you're gonna be fixing a...
We're gonna fix the whole building, up, renovate the whole building, but it's just this office space, and it's only a 3,000 square foot building. Sharon? Okay.
Thank you. Yes, please. And the reason is we want you to speak into the mic so that Trustee Burke, who's not here, can hear you.
I tried to speak loud when I was over there, intentionally for that purpose. I don't know if it was loud enough.
I struggle with that. I'm shy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You want to know about Lake Barrington in general?
Yeah, just what attracted you to Lake Barrington?
Well, we're in Roselle, so, we're not, our territory, let's just call it a territory. I mean, we kind of try to, hit the, if you kind of follow the 90 corridor, okay, that's just, when I started working for GC, that was already their territory. So that's kind of how I got into the territory to begin with. But specifically, we look for areas that are, the population is expanding and, they're, I don't know if it sounds nice to say they're going up in class. I'm not always politically correct, and I apologize if that does not sound the nicest, but, I mean, it's...
The business park itself, when I became mayor, was a D-class business park, and we've worked hard to advance it.
Yeah, no, it's very obvious.
They will. Trustee Burke, who I think you would benefit from me talking with subsequently by telephone, just because he chairs our Economic Development Committee, gets, in my view, most of the credit for that. I always reserve a little credit for myself because I'm the mayor.
Of course, that's how it works. Credit always flows up.
That's right. So, Trustee Van Ryn, are you, any further questions on this?
No, thank you.
Trustee Shaw, those are questions for you.
No questions, thank you for your interest.
Trustee Hayes.
Not this time, thanks for coming.
Trustee Perkins.
No questions, thank you.
Trustee Schaller.
Yeah, well, good luck.
And Trustee Burke via remote.
Yes, hi John, thanks for coming in tonight. Sorry I couldn't be there to greet you in person. I'm encouraged by your group's approach to this, and I appreciate that you're taking the time to come in and discuss it with us. And I would love the opportunity to connect with you offline and discuss this, spend a little bit more time on our vision, on our comprehensive plan, on the work that's going on in the park. Since you are open to ideas, and I think we are like minds, and we're continually trying to improve amenities, services, and the overarching appearance of our community, including our business park. I think there's great opportunities. So I will get your contact information in the clerk, and if you are interested, we will schedule a call to get to know each other better and discuss this in more detail.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely interested. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Terrific. So the process is, for everybody, is simply you file with the Plan Commission. They conduct a record-based hearing. They make a decision on the basis of that record and on the basis of that record alone. And then their decision comes before this board for appellate affirmation or rejection. And depending on how complicated the project is, they usually move pretty quickly, don't they, Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
So we try to be very easy and very transparent. Easy to do business with and very transparent. What you see is what you get. And I think Trustee Burke's offer is something that is worthy of your time, I think.
I mean, we try very hard to be as transparent as possible as well. And, it's why I'm here asking
Wonderful, thank you.
for you guys' ideas. I'm not trying to, I'm not like some of the developers that like to slide things in or hide behind lawyers. I'd rather get in front of somebody and just say...
And John, I'll tell you, we welcome that attitude. We certainly respond well to it, and this seems to have a lot of nice features. Like every city council that you would appear before a village board, we love retail sales taxes.
Yes.
So if you want to bring additional projects to us that generate retail sales taxes, we have a former printing shop on Route 14, primo location, just dying for a capable developer to come along and put a retail sales tax generating business there. So to the extent that that is of interest, Trustee Burke, I will absolutely give you his private secret number. If If you don't want to do retail sales tax, you'll still get a phone number, it just won't be the Dean Wormer double secret probation one.
Well, I'm not sure about Lake Barrington specific, but in most counties, self-storage actually is retail sales commissioned.
But we always love more.
I will keep that in mind. I'll start with this one and
Thank you, yes, no.
go on from there.
The welcome mat's out, the coffee's on.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
There's no one else here in the audience, Trustee Burke, in terms of President's remark presentation. So we will move now to Agenda Item 6. This is the first opportunity in the agenda for the public to address the board on non-agenda items. There are none, so we can move to the consent agenda, which is Item 7 on our agenda tonight. We have 5 items. A is authorization of a temporary use for the Kelsey Roadhouse to use School District 220 property on Kelsey Road for overflow parking for the Kelsey Roadhouse 50th anniversary event on Friday, August 18. B is consideration of an ordinance amending the village code regarding height restrictions on nuisance trees, weeds, and other nuisance plants. C, Max Strategies Consulting Agreement, reauthorization. D, Municipal Waste, Recycling, and Yard Waste Agreement. And E, extension of the village's agreement with Van Scoyoc Associates in Washington, D.C. relative to eco-restoration professional services. We discussed all these items in the committee of the whole prior to this. Are there any further board questions at this time? Trustee Shalmo, is there any questions at this time on these items?
Nope, none at all.
Trustee Van Ryn? No. Trustee Schaller?
I don't have any other question, but I think in our discussion prior, we did add some additional language to the Kelsey Roadhouse that I would like to make sure is included.
And after Trustee Perkins and Trustee Hayes, I will ask Council Bateman to advise on that. Thank you. Any further questions, John, beyond that?
No.
Okay, Trustee Perkins?
No.
And Trustee Hayes?
No.
Relative to Trustee Schaller's comment on the Kelsey Roadhouse?
Relative to the, it relates to the weeds.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
This has to do with Kelsey Roadhouse, a provision in here that safety be included. Right now, we're just giving them permission to use it.
I thought we discussed putting something in here that indicates related to safety, that certain things had to happen for us to approve this.
No, I think we can certainly go on the dais. I think, Andy, do you want to opine on this? I think the conversation went to the event that you were going to talk to the owners of Kelsey Roadhouse about an off-duty police for purposes of control, so that there's not a problem.
Yeah, my comment is simply this: it's more directed at council in terms of what are the conditions, and are there conditions generally to a temporary use permit like this that we want to impart on this, particularly as it relates to safety. And so I'm really more interested in whether council believes that's something that we should make binding as part of this temporary use permit, or that we simply
Put on your mic.
realize that that's going to be left, to the business owner to use their best judgment to ensure a safe operation.
Well, I did not hear that there was an intent to make this subject to any express conditions. The board certainly could do that now, but I don't think there were specifics really discussed that in terms of, there's several different options he could do. He could use a deputy, he could have a valet.
Yeah, shuttle bus.
So I'm not sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not saying that we're going to dictate to him how he needs to manage this. I'm simply asking a question: does the board or does council believe that we need to make it contingent upon any kind of specific safety action, or are we just going to leave it up to the business owner?
I think it would be good for a short amendment, provided certain safety arrangements are made.
But John, we don't have those worked out.
Yeah.
That's the problem is, we don't have any legal obligation to impose conditions. But on the other hand, if you're gonna kick the can down the road, he's not gonna get the approval he needs for next week.
I think in order to balance the interests here, I'd like to move the question. We can take it off of this and consider it separately if we need a roll call vote on that separately, with the understanding that in transmitting the notice that this is passed, assuming that the board chooses to pass it, that it was the board's strong informal consensus that he advise and let us know how he plans on handling safety. Andy, does that work for you?
Absolutely. I just want to be clear. I wasn't advocating for putting anything in there. I was simply asking the question, and because I wanted to make sure that I could tell the business owner that we weren't putting that condition on him. Here's the other thing. I'm not even certain who's going to end up using that space. So there's no guarantee that he's going to have such a crowd for this event that space will even get used. So to impose all kinds of conditions on him that may never come to fruition would be onerous, potentially financially. So if everybody's comfortable, either Sharon and/or myself, in issuing this, we'll have a discussion, and we will simply ask him to inform us of the courtesy of what his plan is for ensuring the safest possible operation of that parking lot.
Trustee Burke, if you'll take responsibility for that, fostering that conversation with the ownership there, I think that, to Mr. Bateman's point, we're not going to get a second bite at this apple because the event's a week from tomorrow.
Trustee Schaller, are you comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable. If you're comfortable, it limits our liability.
We don't have any liability for this.
All right.
I think I've said that in the closed session.
Okay, then agenda item 7B, consideration of an ordinance amending the village code regarding the height restrictions. I think I went through these already, I'm sorry.
I was going to just mention that there's one addition that we discussed in committee of the whole, which is that relative to the phrase trees, bushes, flowers, and other ornamental plants, we were going to add, and/or private rain gardens, butterfly and/or pollinator gardens, which are designed for such.
Rain gardens and butterfly and pollinator.
Private rain gardens, butterfly and/or pollinator gardens, which are designed as such.
Okay. So, Chair would like a motion to consider in block, as amended, agenda items 7A, B, C, D, and E. A, with the understanding that Trustee Burke will communicate with the business concerning public safety. B, as amended by council here in open session. C, D, and E as originally presented in our packets and in the conversation in the committee of the whole. May I have a motion to approve in block agenda items 7A, 7B as amended, 7C, 7D, and 7E as stated in the recommended action of the consent agenda? Trustee Van Ryn, thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
By Trustee Hayes, thank you. Okay, terrific. Agenda item 8, Treasurer's Report. Mrs. Hirsch. Oh, I'm sorry. I do this all the time. Getting as bad as my dad, rest his soul. Clerk will please call the roll.
Sure. Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller? Trustee Schallmoser?
Yes.
President Richardson?
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 8 is the Treasurer's Report. Mrs. Hirsch?
So there's probably nobody happier than me to say this. The auditors have left the building. So they're here this week for field work, and they left, I think they left, they were here Thursday or Friday, whatever, but anyway, so I think everything went well, so we'll see. But I just want to let you know that that is on its way, and hopefully no more word about that one. So you have the financial statements for the 2 months ended June 30th in front of you this evening. So once again, it's just 2 months, so I'll go through it kind of quickly. If we look at the flash report on page 2, well, I'm not sure what your page number is, but we have total assets of $4,188,000. Our liabilities are at $2,095,000. Equity is at $2,094,000. Those together, added together, do equal our assets at $4,188,000. We have total revenue of $1,745,000, and we have net expenses. I know this sounds high, but it's all been budgeted, $2,323,504. That gives us a net loss of $579,000. Once again, we sort of do a comparison to last year, because at last year at this point, we showed a revenue of $404,000. So we'll plot all the extraordinary items out to have a comparison to what we'll call sort of a regular operations from net income from regular operations. You can see below, I pulled all the road work out, and we're adding back in, and I'm only going to explain this one time because I know it looks confusing. We're adding back in the developer impact fee revenue and the grant, the ARPA grant revenue. That's because we recognize that as revenue to offset the expenses. So those are monies we received that are being used directly for related expenses. They were like a deferred revenue item, so when we actually incur the expense, we incur the revenue, because they have to match. So since we're pulling the expenses out, the revenue is being added back in, so to speak. So anyways, just to get a comparison of regular operation net income, it's $290,000 versus $413,000. Now, our revenues are about the same, as last year, as our expenses are a little bit up. As budgeted, police is up, Pill is up a little bit, and engineering is up. We have a lot of road work we've done this year. So once again, all budgeted, nothing for me to be concerned about, or for you.
And for the record, I will repeat again for the record, because everybody here certainly knows it. We maintain a very prudent rainy day fund. When our holdings in retained funds exceed that prudent level, we try to look for ways to effectively return it to the taxpayers. And so accelerating road work is a marvelous way to do a de facto tax refund.
Absolutely.
And so this was very deliberately planned. When I look at the flash report, just for the purposes of the record, and I speak to this all the time because I've learned in this job, it's important that if people look at this after the fact, they have the context. In the revenues, year over year, 22% increase in permits and licenses, 103% increase in revenue in fees and fines, and then other revenues, almost 10,000% increase. So if you could just, for the purposes of...
It's the impact fees that we're recognizing in revenue and the ARPA revenue that we're recognizing. So it's not really revenue per se. Once again, it was cash we've received, and but that's something good to point out.
And how about for the permits and licenses and fees and fines?
It is up 22%, it looks like, over last year, but I will tell you, hold on one second. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, last year we didn't charge full business licensing. That's the reason that's up.
Okay.
Remember we halved it last year? Yep. So this year it's at full tilt. But permits themselves are down from this point last year by $5,000.
Thank you. I just like to make sure that people don't
that's a good question. Yeah, I had a look, so like, yeah, you're right, but yeah, I had forgotten that the business license revenue is the whole difference.
Marvelous, thank you.
Okay, so we'll continue there. We'll just do a quick look at the budget report. Once again, we're just 2 months into the year, so it's a little bit not overly meaningless, but there's a lot of timing differences there and there now. So just your revenues were at 38% actual budget, even though we're only about 15% through our fiscal year. A big part of that is, we get half of our real estate taxes already, and then we've recognized the ARPA revenue and the developer impact fee revenue, almost all of it. Okay, then on page 12, you'll see our expenditures are at 39% actual to budget, and that's really being driven by road work. We've done over half our road work, and it's a big number, so it's going to drive that number. It's going to drive the bottom line tremendously. We budgeted almost $3 million for road work, and we've done about $1.7 million. So a little bit more than half has been completed. So any questions on the general fund before I move on? Okay, we can go to the motor fuel tax fund, page 13. And you can see we have about $220,000 in current assets. There'll be no activity in that fund this year. We're going to hold on to that for another year before we do any more road work out of that fund. So not much to mention there. And then the last thing to mention is the water sewer fund, which is on my page. Balance sheet's on my page 17. And you can see in there about $1.8 million in total current assets. So we've been working with Fox River Grove and other people, Village Administrator Peterson and I, looking at a water rate study. So that's way off in the distance, but we are focusing on that this year. And that is all I have before I talk about the warrants.
Are there questions for the treasurer at this time? Trustee Hayes, any questions?
I just want to follow on a comment. The water and sewer fund, she's spent quite a bit of time with Sharon already, and that does require some review, and so that's part of the fall activities along with the insurance, the health insurance is coming up. I'm really appreciative of you leading.
We're also looking at an integrated payables program right now with the bank too, so we hopefully less check writing. So I got 4 programs that we're kind of working on right now.
Thanks, Peggy.
Trustee Perkins, any questions?
No questions. Thank you, Peggy. Perfect, as usual.
Trustee Schaller.
Appreciate everything you do. Thank you for keeping us up.
Okay.
Trustee Van Ryn.
No, but thank you, Peggy.
Trustee Schallmoser.
Nothing. Thanks, Peggy.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're looking at warrant A. I'll just mention a few of that look a little bit unusual. They're still...
Excuse me, Trustee Burke, he's not sitting here, and I overlooked him. Thank you. Any questions for Peggy? My mistake.
No worries, no, I'm good, thanks, Brett.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so the first one I'll mention the warrants is the Chalmers Street Consulting. This is the second of 2 payments, as was in their proposal, so $8,900 for Chalmers Street Consulting, and then there's 2 for Cuba Township, $2,848.04, $3,314.72, and that's related to replacing and adding 2 different culverts in 2 different locations. HR Green, and that's $28,458.01, and that's for construction, engineering, and inspection, and that's related to the 2023 road program. And then lastly, State Graphics for $2,683.87, and that is for the summer newsletter printing. And that's really all I have to mention. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chalmers Street, thank you for mentioning this. Our permit clerk, Julia Powers, and the administrator and I met with them, and it was a very useful dialogue. And I raise it now because this is going to be a bit of the front-end effort to arm wrestle these issues to the ground is taking more time, but I want to do it right. I don't want to do it twice. And so they originally bucketed it into 2 options, kind of editing an existing off-the-shelf product versus creating something that will meet the needs that we have. I still stand, and I just today heard the town of Hempstead in Long Island has digitized its permitting process. The member of Congress from there was talking about a Zoom call because he used to be, before he went to Congress, he had a real job. He was a mayor. And I want to learn about this because there was a delta difference in doing our own thing, which is more expensive, but it would really solve the problem for Julia and for us, and I think we could probably commercialize it, because I had dinner with the mayor of Hoffman Estates and the mayor of Hanover Park a week ago, and nobody's got a solution for this thing. Everybody's digitized the front end, and we did that before the pandemic. But the back end is still a big problem, and so we're meeting on Tuesday with them by Zoom. I like the partner from Chalmers Street. He's an ex-moto guy. He really knows his Six Sigma stuff. But I want to assure the board, I'm not going to get over my skis with any of you about the cost on this because I keep moving the goalposts on them, not because I'm trying to give them a hard time, but because as we have the conversation, it just forces issues to the front that just need to be decided. And so I'm prepared to, they're going to come back with a second and a third and probably a fourth and a fifth statement of work before we really know what this is going to cost and what the options are. My bias is, and I'll talk to you offline about this, Peggy, I'm trying to think of what my pain point is financially for this. And what I might do is, if it gets to be something that's a great solution, but it's beyond us, is I'll go to 3 or 4 other mayors and let's do it together and we all benefit from the darn thing. Because everybody, what's astonished me is, and I'm vulnerable to this, as are the other mayors I've talked to, and I'm going to a mayor's event early in September in Washington, D.C., and I've already talked to a few. Most of us who are on councils or mayors, we think the digitization of the front end of the process solves the problem. And I want to commend Julia Powers on the record, since she's not here tonight, for bringing this to our attention. So I don't know yet what this is going to cost us. I'm not going to spend money and obligate them. I have no authority to obligate the village. But I want you to know I'm wrestling with this. And it might be a good idea, if your schedule permits, for you to listen in on some of these things. And maybe forward the e-vite to her, if you would please. Because the two buckets, one is potentially a lot less satisfying of our needs, but cheaper. The other is certainly fully satisfying our needs, more expensive. And I haven't started that arm wrestle yet quite so much, and I'd like you to be a part of that
If we made
conversation.
a decision a couple of years ago when we had huge permit revenue, I think it's only going to keep going down, quite honestly, as we build out the subdivisions, and it's just now, and COVID was a building boom like we've not seen. I probably won't see.
Well, and in the meantime, and again, the board is aware of this, we are very respectful of the fact that this has been a burdensome process on the permits coordinator. Julie does a splendid job, and we will continue to provide her with the resources to hire manual labor from B&F so as not to overwhelm her. And what we said when we visited on this with Chalmers Street is, I mentioned for the record to Julia that, look, when we all go into the doctor's office, they got those set of smiley faces, and the top one is an agonizing crying, and the bottom one is happy, happy face. I said, Julia, don't wait till it's an 8. Right. Tell Sharon you need more of Kelly's time at B&F when it's a 2, and stay ahead of it rather than let it build up and then avalanche down. So we've got other solutions. They're not optimized, and I'm going to be beating the bushes for other mayors, not only in the Chicago metro area, but in other states, because I really do want to get this right.
Yeah, I mean, IML is in October, Sharon? When is the conference?
Actually, September 21st.
September 21st, yeah. So that's a good menu.
So, but you mentioned Chalmers in the warrants here, and I meant to report on this under President's remarks, and so thank you for prompting the thought.
I'm done.
And I yield back to you.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Then if there are no further questions for the treasurer, we can move on with the rest of our agenda, correct?
Just approve it all.
Ma'am?
Approve it all.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me.
She needs to go to Tennessee.
Yeah. What did W.C. Fields, the great American comedian, say? I was once stranded on a desert island and forced to live on food and water for several days. Okay, Chair would like a motion under Agenda Item 8 to approve in block Agenda Items 8A through C. A, the financial statements as of June 30th, 2023. B, pay bills in the amount of $290,809.06 as listed on the accounts payable warrant A dated August 10, 2023. Pay bills in the amount of $54,314.72 as listed on the accounts payable warrant B dated August 10, 2023. May I have a motion in block?
So moved.
By Trustee Hayes, may I please have a second? By Trustee Perkins, thank you both. Clerk will please call the roll.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Shawmoser?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
President Richardson?
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 9 is the administrator's report.
Thank you. I have 2 brief items this evening for you. This morning, I had the pleasure of attending the America in Bloom Lake County Educational Summit at the Village of Hawthorne Woods. America in Bloom is a nonprofit organization that promotes community enhancement programs that emphasize cultural heritage, community vitality, environmental leadership, beautification efforts, citizen engagement, and urban forestry. The Village of Hawthorne Woods, Lake Zurich, and Buffalo Grove are some nearby communities that are members. The focus of today's summit was to learn about emotional infrastructure, which is focused on parks and open space, sitting in nature with the flowers and the plants, and another area of focus today was economic development through beautification. I'll have more information about that at a further meeting. My second item is the barn stomp is fastly approaching. I hope I didn't steal Susie's. Oh, I'll stop. I said we're looking for volunteers, so if anybody is ready to volunteer, that is on Saturday, September 30th. And Signorama is having their ribbon cutting on Tuesday, August 15th from 5 to 7. That's all I have this evening.
Marvelous. Questions for the administrator? There being none, agenda item 10, the clerk's report.
Thank you. I just wanted to let everyone know that the fall newsletter is scheduled to be in mailboxes the week of September 18th. So look out for that. That's all.
I will have that to you by Tuesday morning.
All right.
I promise.
Okay.
You're just as efficient as your predecessor in pushing me on this. I'm sure I appreciate it. Okay, agenda item 11, reports of the standing committees, branding and communications. Trustee Van Ryn.
Thank you, President Richardson. A few updates from me, of course, starting with our e-news. Subscribers are down a bit from last month. According to our records, about 12 people have unsubscribed, so we'll have to switch that. We need to go up. We're at 372, so we'll brainstorm ideas on that. LinkedIn continues to increase. We're up 4 to 143 followers on LinkedIn, so that's continuing to be a growth channel for us. A reminder, I know I announced this last month, but just a reminder to mark your calendars for September 23rd, Pepper Park Fest, coordinated by the Barrington Area Chamber of Commerce. And back to LinkedIn for a moment, we had great engagement on our post for this week. If you recall last month when Axel visited us, we learned through a press release, and thank you, Sharon, for your great updates to us. He has been given, or will be given, a bullet and stab protective vest. Compliments of vested interest in Canines Inc. and Elko Mutual Life and Annuity. So we thank them for their support of Axel and the Lake County Sheriff's Office. That post included a picture of Axel. It was just beautiful, and a lot of engagements and reposting of that. So for those on our board that have engaged in that, thank you. And with that, I will conclude. Thank you so much.
Questions for Trustee Van Ryn? 11B, economic development. Trustee Burke.
Thank you. I have just one item, and thanks to our treasurer, Peggy Hirsch, being so diligent on providing really insightful sales tax revenue generating summaries for us. She reported in her last 12 months ending in May of 2023 that we're 12 months rolling that our total tax remittance was up almost $70,000 versus previous year. And that's actually despite a bit of a headwind of some losses that counted that, almost $30,000 worth of losses, or we would have been, potentially over $100,000 improved. Those losses, the headwinds, are businesses that actually have done, quite well, and overall picture is excellent. We've added, there are 4 new businesses that we added in the last 12 months that collectively have contributed almost $30,000 of that increase alone. So these new businesses are really making an impact, and so we need to keep our momentum going here. Post-COVID resurgence is really getting extremely encouraging. So thank you, Peggy, for your continued due diligence to provide that report. Really insightful and great for us to be able to confirm that revenue generation is moving in the right direction, and that's my whole report.
Questions for Trustee Burke? Okay, 11C, External Relations. As I mentioned, I've been working on this Six Sigma project with Julia and Sharon, and Peggy, thank you for your willingness to dial in on this going forward. And then I am going to be going to a few mayor's events in different places, and as is my custom, I do not ask the village to pay those expenses, rather I pay them myself. So I will report back on those activities. 11D, Finance, HR, and Administration. Trustee Hayes.
Yeah, just 2 items. First of all, and you all know, but Peggy's decided to stay with us longer. We'll be voting on that next month, so I know you know that, but I want to do it for the record. Then secondly, we are going to be looking at insurance for the village, health insurance and all those. I don't know if any of the trustees are interested in being part of the team to look at that, but clearly it's going to be Sharon and Peggy and myself, but I'd offer that to any one of you. We can do the nug work and then bring it back to the board for recommendations depending on what we find, so I thought I'd share that. That's all.
Questions for Trustee Hayes? Okay, 11E, Roads and Infrastructure. Trustee Shalma.
Thank you, President Richardson. The road work continues to go in full swing. As Treasurer Hirsch said, we're about halfway through this year's project. On Tuesday, Administrator Peterson and Trustee Burke and I and Jeffrey from HR Green had a lengthy conversation about putting together a different review process of the roads, an ongoing, more of a metrics-based process of review. Obviously, visual inspection is going to be, paramount to making the decision. Looking more of a structured by areas of the village and of course road quality. And so HR Green is going to be putting together a proposal for us, comprehensive review, how much that would cost to look at all of our roads and a best practice of other villages that they have done similar work for. So we should be getting that back in the next couple weeks.
Thank you. Questions for Trustee Schalmoser? 11F, Public Safety. Trustee Schaller.
Thank you, President Richardson. While we ask Lieutenant Scott Kirk to come forward without Axel, sorry, don't have Axel this month. Just a quick overview. In the month of June, we think Lake Barrington is crime-free. There still was a battery incident, deceptive practices, criminal damage to property. Still have some credit card fraud and identity theft. But when you look at the big scope of things, some incidents, but nothing major, but unless I hear differently.
Correct. No, just your run-of-the-mill incidents that pretty much any community in the United States would anticipate in handling, so.
Things are under control.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Other than that, I don't have much other news. Internally with the Lake County Sheriff's Office, the sheriff did host a promotional ceremony where he publicly acknowledged some promotions within the law enforcement side and the corrections side, so that was exciting for some of those members. While I didn't get to attend that, I did get to attend a police academy graduation down in Springfield, hence why I was a little bit late. So we graduated 3 deputies from the Illinois State Police Academy, so very exciting to see fresh new faces and ready to hit the streets of Lake County. So over the next 9 to 12 months, they'll be going through internal training, and then they'll be out in the field, and who knows, they may end up in Lake Barrington at one point. So
we do have the gentleman who was here earlier is new to the afternoon shift.
He's on, I believe he's been here about almost about a year he's been.
I thought
he came from another agency. He's while we do bring new deputies on, we also have a pretty strong lateral program. So if we bring somebody with some experience on, people look for other opportunities, and we actually had a lot of really good luck lately with our lateral program, and have graduated some really fine deputies from our lateral program and are out on the street right now.
How about recruiting? Is the staff in general up, down?
We're about the same as everybody else. You know, we continue to interview new people, and there were a lot of retirements over the last few years, and we're trying to build up our force again since that, but I think we're doing pretty well.
Very good.
So unless anybody else has any questions.
Are there questions for the lieutenant?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Just in the insert of recruiting, that you see the Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District, most of the firefighters are contracted through a company called PSI down in Bensonville. They aren't full-time employees of the Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District, but, you know, it's a problem. They're down 9 firefighters in the district, so trying to recruit new recruits, there are intern programs going on, they're trying to work through the county colleges, things like that, but if you know somebody that's interested in getting involved in EMT and fire protection, certainly they would appreciate that. But if we talk about our budget, they just approved Barrington Countryside, their budget for 23-24, $12 million. So that's what we get from them. The Wakanda Fire Department, I attend their meeting as well, and just a quick report, their fire reports this year are up 27%, but the EMS rescues are down 3% year-to-date, so they are looking for some new equipment. I also did some promotions, but things are in. Wakanda prevented Lake Barrington shores from burning down. We had our first fireworks display for the 50th anniversary, and all buildings are still safe. So thank the Wakanda Fire Department. That's it. Thank you.
Questions for Trustee Schaller? If not, 11G, Open Space and Special Events, Trustee Perkins.
Thank you, President Richardson. Our concerts at Fire Farm have been very nice. We've had some great bands and nice crowds. June was an okay crowd, and then July was pretty good, I thought. We had quite a few people in July. And then, so next Thursday, we have our very own Mr. D will be there to perform, and I've put a couple of messages out on Facebook to like Countryside, where he is a music teacher, so let some of those folks know that he will be there. Concerts are, well, this will be our last concert, and like I said, it is Thursday, August 17th, 6:30 to 8:30, and then also we have the Barn Stomp, which Ms. Peterson mentioned, and that is September, did we decide on a date, didn't we? 30th, yeah. So, yeah, September 30th, and we've been doing some planning and got some new things in line, so it should be a really fun time. So yeah, like Sharon mentioned, we are looking for volunteers, adult volunteers. We'll have our child volunteers as well, but we're going to look for some adult volunteers too. So, and that's it.
Thank you.
Questions for Trustee Perkins?
The volunteers you're looking for just for that night, or for setup, or what are you looking for?
We would love you and your daughter to come and help set up again. You guys.
Her daughter is marvelous.
Your
What a fine,
daughter
nice
was
young lady.
amazing. Yeah, you guys were amazing help last year, so we would definitely love setup help as well.
Did we advertise it at LBS through our newsletter there last year? That'd be a way to get some volunteers, just put it out there. ask them, hey, anybody wants to help out, contact.
That'd be great,
Yeah, because they do it every week, there's a newsletter, you could hit it multiple times.
Oh, sure.
I haven't met that person. I would love to either be introduced or to get the contact.
Yeah, easy, it's real simple. They're always looking for something to put in the newsletter, so. Yeah, we'll take care of it. Okay.
All right, awesome.
Well, that'll be a good chance for you to talk to them about the trash collection change too, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, Jamie does the weekly, as well as puts together a lot of the shorelines, so she'd be a good contact, Jamie Shepard. Sure. I'll get that, yeah.
Okay.
Free of charge.
Agenda item 12, old business, there is none. 13, ordinances, there are none. Resolutions, 14, there are none. New business, 15, there is none. Agenda item 16, second opportunity in the agenda for the public to address the village board. There is no one here seeking recognition. Agenda item 17, closed session. Chair would like a motion that a portion of the meeting be closed to the public effective immediately to discuss possible real estate acquisitions, matters of personnel, and/or to discuss litigation involving an action against this municipality which is pending in court and/or an administrative tribunal, and/or to discuss such litigation which is probable or imminent, the board finding that based on the advice of counsel, litigation is probable or imminent as to those matters so identified on the record in such closed session for the reasons stated therein. May I have that motion, please?
So move.
I'm sorry, Trustee Hayes, thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
By Trustee Van Ryan, thank you. And clerk will call the roll.
Trustee Hayes.
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee Schaller. Trustee Schallmoser.
Yes.
President Richardson.
Yes, before we commence in closed session, Chair was going to declare a 3-minute recess, and then we'll come back in closed session and call the roll and perform from there, okay? So just a very short recess.